My all-time favorite books in a nutshell. Before starting, I want to talk to you about the idiom in a nutshell I used in the title of this video. So, first of all, what's an idiom? The word idiom comes from the Greek word idioma, and it's a word or a phrase that has a figurative meaning that it's not easily deduced from its literal definition. Now you probably know that it means in the fewest possible words, but do you know where it comes from? Originally, the phrase was used to illustrate something that literally happened. According to Cicero, Homer's Iliad, written on parchment, was literally enclosed within a nutshell. I found it cool that it is correlated with a book, so I wanted to share with you. Now, let's jump into my all-time favorite books. So, the first is 1984 by George Orwell, and maybe my most annotated book of all my books, maybe. I have also uploaded a video on my YouTube channel about 1984, but here I'm gonna give you additional information so you can understand why this is one of my all-time favorite books. This book has been written right after World War II, and it is super influenced by it. So this book contains not the idea of World War II and the atrocities took place, but it's about the results they wanted to achieve. And this is the scary part that the author took and weaved this story, in my opinion. It results to a dystopic totalitarian regime which wants to control the thoughts and the feelings, and they want people to do and believe what they want to. For example, if they say 2 and 2 equals 5, they have to believe and know that. So imagine our hero in this book, Winston, is living in this environment and tries to find someone that thinks like him, opposite to what the regime wants people to believe. Like, all his struggle is to find someone that can understand him. This is why in the last part of the book he says, perhaps one did not want to be loved so much as to be understood. So Winston, the hero of this book, cannot even trust his own self. Everything seems blurred for him. He cannot distinguish the real events from the false ones, and this is what the regime exactly wants to achieve. Make people like babies, like a tabula rasa, where they can write anything they want from the beginning. They can write their own truth. This book could have easily been a contemporary book. It could have been written anytime, any year. It has so many things to teach us for this situation and try to tell us to avoid that direction where people are controlled by fear. Because whatever it is used to scare people, the weapon is the same: fear. Fun fact, this book was published in 1949. At first, George Orwell wanted to give the title The Last Man in Europe, but eventually they gave the title 1984 because they flipped the last two numbers from the age the book was written, and it was 1948. Also, Orwell was so much into linguistics that he created this new language for his book called Newspeak, and actually he has an appendix in the last part of the book where he explains how this Newspeak works. The older you get, the more you can understand from this book. totally recommended by me. Next amazing book, in my opinion, is The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky. It's a bulky book, as you can see, and it took me like from December to May to end this because I wanted to pay attention in every single sentence. Dostoevsky had a really difficult life, and so this is reflected in his books. He originally planned this book for children, but after his son died from epilepsy, it turned out differently. His books generally are influenced by religion. He was a Christian Orthodox, and also they have a great value. This particular book is a story about three brothers that their brutal father is murdered, and this changes their lives forever. So there's an investigation and a trial taking place to reveal the murderer, but in the end, the atmosphere gets darker as the evil reveals itself through an unexpected way. The detail he approaches the human nature is really unique. I haven't read any other author like Dostoevsky. This is the last book he wrote before he died, and literally it contains all his wisdom. The plot and the analysis of the character psychology is absolutely unique, and you can find that only in Dostoevsky's writing style. Second all-time favorite book, and definitely recommended also by me. And my last all-time favorite book is The Labyrinth of Spirits by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. I'm holding the Greek edition here, but he is translated in so many languages. You can find him wherever your nationality is. I accidentally discovered this author some years ago in a bookshop. I took it because I read the synopsis in the back. I loved the concept. I loved every word. It's one of those books that talk about books. In fact, the whole story has to do with a book. This is the last book of a series he has written, but even if the characters and the plots are connected with the previous three books, it can be read independently. So don't worry if you want to read only The Labyrinth of Spirits. It's okay. I am not going to tell you anything about the plot of this book because I want you to read it and I don't want to spoil anything about it. This story is presented like no other book I have read. There is a great balance between descriptions and characters. I was totally engrossed. I was living inside this book. Believe me, it is amazing fiction. I was in awe the whole time I was reading it. The writing style is exceptional, and if I could choose to be an author, I would choose to be Zafón. This is how much I loved this book. Just to let you know, the first book of the series The Cemetery of Forgotten Books is The Shadow of the Wind. The second is The Angel's Game, and the third is The Prisoner of Heaven, which I also read. I liked it too, but not as much as The Labyrinth of Spirits. Unfortunately, Carlos Ruiz Zafón died in 2020. He lost the battle with cancer and he was only 55 years old. His contribution in literature is amazing and the world lost a great mind. But there are a lot of his books you can read and enjoy as much as I did. So these were my 3 all-time favorite books: George Orwell, 1984, Dostoevsky's Brothers Karamazov, and Carlos Ruiz Zafón, The Labyrinth of Spirits. Thank you for watching. If you have any question, please drop it below, or if you want to see anything in my channel. And see you next time. Ciao! So my daughter is making breakfast, my son is working out, but I will still tell you about my all-time favorite books.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You wanna stop by later? Maybe I'll go to fix something tea. You wanna grab something from the street?